G'day, fellas, and welcome to game number 3 of week 2 of the Outback Octagon. We've got 8 of the best players in the world looking to take down each other because we have got the very first water map, and this is a true water map. This is going to be a little bit crazy, I suspect, because, well, this is, I guess, the best way to say it, Lidicor. It kind of looks like someone has opened up their hand and sprung out all their fingers, and they've done so in a little bit of a weird way. So, let's talk about the players that we've got here, because we've got Core. He's going to be playing as the Abbasid dynasty on this south side. Down below him, at the very bottom, we've got Snooper playing as the Chinese in pink. Then over to the west of Snooper, we've got in the Mongols, in the color orange, Recon. And then finally, we've got 5 people at the top. Take a look at Beastie Spawn. He's playing as the green Mongols. He's over on this western arm. And then up towards the north, we've got Blade 55555 playing as the Delhi in the color red. And then up towards the even northern position, we've got Dinky King playing as the English in yellow. And then Lucifron 7 playing as the Delhi in teal. And then, last but not least, we have one Puppy Paw playing as the Holy Roman Empire. Lidicor, who's in the best spot? Who's got the number one seat here?
Oh, this is a tough one because there's a lot of things to look at. First of all, before we even go into that evaluation, take a look at the right-hand side. See, there's a tiny little island with a trading post, and Blade and who is that? Blade and Puppy Paw have one stranded villager there each, so bit of an unlucky spawn out there, but I guess Puppy is getting the most out of that. He already has a dock. But one of the things that's interesting to look at is that in FFAs, oftentimes positioning is more important than the actual civilization you get. And players are trying to get to corners because that at least limits the amount of surface you could be attacked from. But on this map, you don't really have corners, so the best thing that you can go is these little fingers or tentacles. And you see that the far left side is unoccupied, and what's more important is that the far right side is unoccupied. I think the best spot available on this map is that far right side island. It's like perfectly defendable, has plenty of resources to work with. I would think that it is going to come down to 2 things. First, how is Snoopa going to deal with this? He's in the southern corner and he's got Chinese, and that's very dangerous. And I think it's also going to come down to who comes out victorious on the north, because we got a couple of players, Blade, Dinky, and Beastie, very close to one another. Like, if one player can knock out the 2 neighbors here, this northern position could also be very valuable.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Now, it is important to note as well that we don't have all civilizations in this game. Now, every single player is a random civilization, or every single player picks a random civilization. So that means you don't get to choose your civilization here, which means that we don't have a French player. We do not have a Rus player here. We do have 2 Mongols. We've got 2 Delhi players as well, and that's why we've got that single Chinese player. So Snooper really rolling very well here, getting Chinese twice in a row last week and then this week as well.
And one of the things we talked about in the pregame, something that the YouTube audience haven't heard yet, is that it is becoming more and more of a common thought that having Chinese on FFA is actually problematic for you as a player, because the other players are so much afraid of your late game potential that you will be the number 1 target. Like, people will team up on you, 3-4 players, just teaming up on you to make sure you don't get to late game. So many players, like I think Marine Lord, for example, said that he prefers not to get Chinese simply because it puts you in as the number 1 target.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I suspect Snooper, I mean, he's got a great little spot down in that corner, but I reckon he's going to be a pretty big target throughout this game. But let's take a look at Core, because Core, unfortunately, spawned in, I would probably say, the closest position to the middle. Obviously, we've also got Puppy Paw, who's in a bit of an awkward spot, but Core in particular is in a really bad spot because he's playing the Abbasid dynasty, and they've only got access to 2 landmarks. And he's actually going to drop his landmark down next to his town center. You could see that he is doing this quite late. He actually did a fair bit of scouting to try and understand where he was, but determined that, unfortunately, it just isn't the best spawn, and so he drops it down in his base at 5 minutes.
Yeah, this is concerning because you don't want to be the guy being in the middle. It's not impossible to survive, but if you think about it, let's say that one player in the corner makes a wonder and everybody else has to converge on that location, so everybody has to go through your own base. It's much more difficult to just sit behind 15 layers of walls, leaves you exposed from a lot of directions. So for Core, it's gonna be imperative to secure these southern parts of the map, But if he can do that, he's going to be the player with essentially the majority map control, and that will be an interesting one to take a look at for him for sure.
Another thing to note is that we've got pretty large parts of this map that are just uninhabited. So you mentioned earlier over on the west side, we've got a tentacle or a finger of this map that's just completely barren. There's not a single person that is over here. And obviously Beastie, he spawns probably the closest to this. He's playing the Mongols. If he wants to, I suspect he'll heal up and move over there if he wants to. So that's going to be something to watch out for. The other thing to watch out for is, as you mentioned earlier, we've also got this island out to the east, which no one has spawned in on, or at least spawned their town center on. But Lucifron is aware of this arm or this tentacle. We take a look from his position, and he sees the line of sight. He knows that he is on his own little tentacle. But I guess the question I'm wondering is, does he dare look to drop his landmark down over on this island?
Possibly. I mean, that would be a very nice backup, but right now he's focused on something else, and that is tower rushing the heck out of Puppy Paw, because suddenly Puppy Paw gets caught in between two positions. Here you see there's already a tower out there on the right-hand side denying his primary gold, and his secondary gold is also denied by the towers over here, so bit of a neighborly feud over here in between these two players right away. But that prelate, supported by what seems to be 9 villagers, may be sufficient to push this away, or is it?
I think it might be, but at the same time, Lucifron going to be pulling villagers of his own. All of the villagers are going to jump inside that outpost, focusing down the prelate, because remember, the prelate cannot heal itself. It can heal the villagers around it, but it cannot heal itself. So a very smart move there, and we already see Core now reaching up to the feudal age, going up with no surprises, the economic wing. Snooper also down to the south, going to be going up and going for a very quick Song Dynasty. Take a look at this.
Yeah, very quick Song Dynasty. Obviously, you want to capitalize on that eco bonus as much as possible. That Barbican also gives you a bit of a defense against early aggression, helps you secure that gold mine. But it looks like now Core has scouted Snooper, so he's aware of the fact that he's got a side on neighbor, and that is the Chinese player. One thing we haven't discussed yet is that one of the parts of this map has been very much saturated with resources, and this is this central ridge down below Puppy Paw's base. This area has tons of gold. I can count 5 large gold mines, tons of berries, trade post. All 3 sacred sites are also very close to one another, so this is probably the strategically most important part of the map over here for all players.
Yeah, I would agree with you, and it's also a pretty interesting choke point, because even though we talked about that island over in the east a little bit earlier, one of the things to note is that it's not actually an island. It is connected through. Everybody is going to be able to get over there. We actually see Recon with a scout over towards this position, and it is in fact connected, which means that there is the possibility that players won't need to drop. They may actually just look to try and breach in the event, because I can already see it. Lucifron's Island special just coming up for us.
The boar pool!
Where?
I'm not sure if you saw that.
No.
On the gold mine of Puppy Paw, Lucifron triggers the boar with the scouts, and the boar was aggroed on the prelate. The prelate was killed by a boar.
Oh my god, I can see it on the ground right now. That's a huge loss right there for Puppy Paw. He's going to realize that he needs to move a little bit further away with the mining camp, and now heads back towards that other position. That is a massive loss there for him.
Indeed, big loss. And I agree with you, to be honest. This is a very good natural choke point, and right now Lucifron, he is playing very aggressive against Puppy. If he can knock out Puppy Paw early, as you pointed out, he has the chance to place his landmark on that right side island, and then maybe use this choke point to defend it, and he would have a very nice map control with that, ton of resources available, and a very well defendable spot for a potential future wonder.
Well, it looks like we've got the Minework Palace that's going to be coming down for Puppy Paw in the base, or at least it was. I'm not sure exactly what happened. There we go. Now the villager is going to be tasked with it. So a little bit of a slow age up there, but obviously there's quite a bit of aggression for him in this early stage of the game.
Yeah, a ton of aggression, and there is no surprise about the Minework Palace being used here. He's actually very happy with the fact that he's got that fishing geek on the right-hand side, because that's going to help a lot when it comes to gathering the food and helping out make this war machine work, because most of his resources are being denied by Lucifron's harassment. Speaking of that right-hand side island, Blade has that villager that he spawned with idle for a long time out there. Like, that is a lot of setback he's suffering from, because essentially one-third of his eco before he drops his town center is idle, and that's actually quite a lot.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's stuck, because he hasn't even moved the villager. So if we take a look at it, it's just standing still. So it very much may be that it's just stuck standing there as a scout for the rest of the game.
Oh, he's stuck. Because if you take a look at the watershed to the left of the villager on the right-hand side, like, this is essentially an old separate island that's separated with a cliff and two patches of water on the left and the right. He can't even move out to the rest of the island. The only thing that he could do here, realistically, is drop a dock.
Well, it's our first step-sister for the game. The question is, will we see any more step relatives coming out? Because Blade is looking to try and hold down this position a little bit longer. He's also got the outpost that's already up in his own base, and Puppy Paw does manage to reach the feudal age, but I suspect he's just going to be going straight through to a castle age play here, maybe even to a Burgrave, and looking to take out his nearest neighbor, Lucifron. Dome of the Faith going down for Lucifron in his base, though. This feels a little bit dangerous, a little bit scary, but look over on the east of the map. Dinky King has brought a whole bunch of villagers over towards this eastern position. How did he even get over
I
here?
love it. I love it. Oh, he has a dock. If you take a look at the north, right next to Lucifron base, there is a dock, and there has to be a transport ship. Indeed, there's a transport ship out there. That's actually crazy. And there's a second transport ship. This is a double transport play by Dinky. He transported villagers from his base using a transport to Lucifron's base, built a dock, and then built a second transport to transport them to this right-hand side corner. This is really good gameplay here by Dinky because he's using that right-hand side tentacle really well. And I'm not sure if Lucifron is actually aware of what's exactly happening here, although Lucifron has his own transport as well heading to the left side.
Yeah, it's interesting. We've got players just going out on all different edges. Yeah, and the transport coming out for Lucifron now. So players are obviously very scared about their spawn locations, looking to diversify their holdings, and it's almost like Dinky is just running to the safer lands, isn't he?
Maybe. Like, we discussed this before, that there is a chance that we have some preset alliances out there, especially if you are Dinky King, being right next to Blade, relatively close to Beastie as well. If you're Lucifron, you're right next to Puppy Paw, so there are some mutual interests over here for both, and looks like there's the Burgrave Palace coming up. Now here's where it gets interesting. An outpost is being dropped by Lucifron, and there's actually a realistic chance that he could even deny this Burgrave with that tower. That would be devastating. Could he possibly deny it?
I don't think it's going to take... he's not going to have the time. Even if he gets it up, puts villagers in, the villagers are just going to fall back, and they'll be able to tuck on over on that western side of the Burgrave. So I think he's going to be fine in that regard. But we now see players reaching Castle Age. We've got Beastie that's up first. Recon going to follow him up as well. We'll check quickly in on that landmark. It's going to be both of our Mongol players going up here. And the Burgrave does come up, and immediately we see that Men-at-Arms are the name of the game here. And remember, Puppy Paw's got an insane economy behind this. He's fishing at the moment.
Yeah, and this is not something that Lucifron is aware of, I believe. I think Lucifron feels that his opponent isn't really on food, but he's wrong about this one. He probably didn't scout that dock on the right-hand side island, because how would you even scout this? This is a small island. Lucifron never spotted this, and he never realized that, hey, his opponent is actually able to access a ton of food. In his perspective, he was able to deny Puppy Paw's food very well, so he probably didn't even expect the Castle Age this soon from his opponent.
Yeah, it's not a good position, let's just put it that way. My fear right now is for Lucifron. We may see Lucifron being knocked out quite early this game, and you can see I would say he's a little bit panicked right now. I wonder what his reaction is going to be to this, because my reaction to this would be I need to get some villagers somewhere, and I need to find another place to put a landmark down, because I'm not going to be too long for this world. The Burgrave is out, the printer is out, everybody is printing, and we've got some problems.
Yeah, he needs to leave, I mean, but where would he leave? Because if you take a look at the right-hand side, now he's dropping a town center there, so he feels that sense of urgency, but I love what Dinky is doing. It's not just the council hall. Dinky is relocating. Sure, I think he's got his starting TC on the north, but you see, he's limited on resources. He's right next to Blade as well. He probably doesn't want to take an early engagement here, so instead, just relocating his entire base to the right side. He will be 2 town centers plus a council hall there, and he might be completely unscouted. I actually like how Dinky is relocating his entire base of operations here to the right side, because that spot is way better than what he has on the north. And Beastie also trying to expand to that left-hand side finger. You see the deer stones has already been hidden there. Yeah,
very smart from Beastie. He is thinking ahead of the game. But yeah, it's great to see that players aren't anchoring. And that's the big thing. When it comes to these free-for-all games, you've got to be very careful not to anchor towards this one base. You have to be transient. You have to be in and out the same way.
I'm sorry, I gotta interrupt you. Look at the south. Recon, we got Snoopa walling himself off completely. Recon chops through a forest, and now he's in with Lancers, and this is not something that Snoopa expected.
Yeah, this is not going to be good at all. Yeah, you can see there's a single tree that's down right now. It's had one wood taken off it, but at the same time, we've got Snooper towards the east of the map who's dropping down the Imperial Palace.
Oh man, this is gonna be very chaotic because we have a limited amount of land. So, as compared to many of the games that we have seen in Outback Octagon so far, we have way less land to work with. So, the players are just confining to tighter spaces here, and you could see some engagements, and you could see some crazy stuff, like, for example, Beastie's Shaman standing on a sacred site right next to the town center of Core and stuff like that.
Or Beastie's Shaman just running into the base of Recon or of Snooper because of that hole that was cut through the wall to pick up the relic. Look at that silly Shaman. Oh, jeez.
Recon. Recon is actually trading with a silver tree, by the way. That's something that we gotta respect, especially if he can knock out Snoop over here. And he definitely did push a big punch into the face of Snoopa here with those Lancers. So you gotta respect Recon over here in the south.
And players now looking to work together. We've got Lucifron as well as Snooper over on this eastern island. The three best friends that anyone could have. Everybody working together over on this western side. Meanwhile, in the base of Lucifron, things aren't looking pretty for him because that town center, it's going down.
Yeah, it's going down. I mean, right now he's racing against time. He's trying to rush up that compound of the defenders. So even if he loses his town center and the Dome of Faith, he would survive. But this is something that Dinky is only letting him right now because he wants to be the guy delivering the finishing blow. I feel like Dinky, once he sees that starting base go down from Lucifron here, he's just going to jump on that final landmark. And actually, I love how the Imperial Pass is also on this right-hand side corner. Essentially, Dinky, if the circumstances allow him, could knock out two players by sniping their last landmarks respectively.
Yeah, it's super smart from Dinky to get over here nice and early, and we see him putting down another town center. He's going to have 4 TCs over on this eastern flank. Keep in mind his main town center is still alive. It does survive, but the question is for how much longer, because Blade is nearby, and Blade is an angry guy.
Indeed, Blade is an angry guy out here. He could knock out Dinky, but do you actually want to bother with this? That's the big question, because down south you have a bigger concern potentially. You have been tower rushing the Lumberjacks of Beastie for a while, and Beastie doesn't forget things. Like, I can tell you, Beastie is probably angry about that one. I played of FFA one day with some of the higher level players, and I killed Beastie's scout with my town center. His response in chat was, okay, you die. So, you gotta be careful what you do to Beastie.
He's like an elephant, not for his weight, but for his memory. He remembers. But Compound of the Defender going to be coming up for Lucifron. So it looks like he's going to be able to stay alive a little bit longer, but his main base is definitely going to be evacuated. There is nobody left in here. Villagers did make a bit of a run out, but we can see that stone walls have already come up for Dinky King, and he's not going to be letting anybody through these stone walls. In fact, we've got Recon on the other side. This is the question. Does he allow Recon to pass right now? Because he could delete this wall and rebuild it. Will he let him do it, though? Let's take a look and see how he reacts. Let's see whether he lets him through the gate. Gate remains closed. He's going to have to delete the wall if he wants to. Maybe he goes for a transport ship around. Maybe that could be the play.
I mean, transport ships are always an option on this map, and this actually makes it very difficult. Speaking of transport ships, we have a migration coming in here from Snoopa. Look at that. About 30-40 villagers are migrating on the right side because he's under heavy pressure from Core. He doesn't have anything.
Yeah.
Snoopa has to mass migrate here.
He's bringing out all of the villagers.
He's getting double teamed by Recon and Core. And this is what we talked about. You don't want to be the Chinese because everybody hates you.
And that's exactly it. You can, even if you've got this perfect little spot that you spawn in with, well, bad luck. Bad luck because you've got 2v1 and you can't deal with that. It's too much pressure. It's already hard enough playing China into a castle age civilization like the Mongols. Go and do it against 2 with the Abbasid involved, and now they look to try and take him out. Keep in mind that landmark does remain for him, and they are setting up a brand new world over on this western or this eastern island. We are seeing the 2 Australians come back together again. Now, I will remind you guys that the reason why these 2 guys are together in this game again is because each week, we've got 4 games that happen. So that means that even if we ran the math, the best we could get it is that 2 players from the same game are going to be playing in the next game, or the next week's games together. So this week, it's Snooper as well as Dinky King that get thrown into the same game. So they'll be very happy with that, the 2 Australians. But those landmarks now down to the south have gone down. And that's going to be a single landmark that actually remains for Snooper. So a smart move for him to move out and migrate early.
And a smart move from Dinky to wait for this, because oftentimes landmark sniping the Chinese is very difficult, because obviously they can go for a ton of landmarks. But because Snoopa was punched in the face so early, he only has one landmark remaining, and now if you take a look at the right-hand side, Dinky's got a pretty well fortified position here. I mean, 5 town centers, Council Hall. He could think about potentially knocking out both Lucifron and Snoopa in just the blink of an eye. He just needs to destroy that compound of the Defender and the Imperial Palace. And right now, neither of those players can do anything against it. And look at that landing on... What is that D-Day out there? You know, yoink! That was your stone mine.
Now it's mine. That's a lot of villagers over there. We'll check in with Snooper and see how he's doing right now. You can see the resources that he's got banked up. Stone is going to be so damn important for him here. He's going to be able to drop down another town center though, and look to try and boom back up. He is in Song Dynasty, so he's going to have that villager count slowly but steadily rising back up. He's got 72 villagers though, so it's not a terrible amount, honestly.
Okay, so, you know, there's a lot of trash talk between Beastie and Core, and we have had that before. It looks like all of that was just clouding. Because Core and Beastie are working together. They're mining the same gold mine. In fact, that sacred site was captured by Beastie right next to Core's DC. They must be working together. And it looks like Beastie's trying to just salvage something out of Snoopa's base over here, like a vulture, coming in with the elite lancers. But there's nothing there to the south. Nothing at all.
Yeah, he knows that there's another landmark somewhere, but obviously players are going to be tight-lipped. It seems like, you know, in the last game that I watched, there was 2 teams of 2 players. Well, now it looks like we might have a team of 3 players. This is getting a bit serious. This is slowly developing into a 3 versus the world.
And one of the things that Puppy Paw could do over here is that he hasn't finished the Dome of Faith off. Actually, it would be smart from him not to do it.
Yeah.
Because right now he's the only player who can snipe that landmark. And with the Wingard Palace coming up over here for Dinky King, I feel like we could see him potentially betraying these 2 players. Obviously, you gotta consider a lot of things here. You betray someone, people will remember it for next week. But I feel like the value is so high over here, you could potentially knock out 2 players. If you're certain that these are the 2 landmarks that they have, and you can knock them out by destroying them, then I think it's worth it.
And now we actually see Snooper moving over towards where Lucifron once lived. So the land is getting so damn expensive over on this eastern island that he's going to pick up and he's going to move on because there's only room enough on this island for 1. Well, maybe 2. But let's be honest, there's really only 1 player over here at the moment.
Recon is pursuing. Look at the right side, transport ships from Recon sending the Lancers to the right side. He's out there for blood. He wants to finish that Chinese player, and this could actually cause a lot of chaos here because one thing that neither of the players on that right-hand side finger have is army.
Yeah, this is a great point. Those Lancers are just going to wreak havoc. Now, those transport ships have also landed for Snooper up towards the north, back where Lucifron once was. Snooper's going to get out and immediately drop down an outpost, try and understand the lay of the land, but it looks like that Dome of the Faith is going to be going down. So that Puppy Paw is going to have killed that landmark there, which means the last remaining landmark for Lucifron is on that island. And that means that at any moment, Dinky King could turn all of his villagers towards that landmark and claim 3 points.
Just think about it. He comes in with the Lancers, and this could be a beautiful yoink.
Oh my god.
There might be an agreement between the others, but what if he snipes it?
That's exactly right. And look at it as he comes through. He's just found the mother lode right now. Oh, he's going for Snooper. Oh, no, immediately turning on the only Chinese player remaining in the game. He's found the final landmark. He's come all this way across the land, brought the transport ships, brought the Khan, brought the Lancers, and now a single landmark remains. Snooper's going to have to rebuild another landmark. That astronomical clock tower is going up.
Finish it.
Oh, Snooper somehow cockroaches his way into another corner of the map. Drops down an outpost and keeps himself alive despite that Imperial Palace. Oh, you can never get rid of these damn cockroaches, Lidicor.
And Lucifron is repairing. He's repairing his starting TC. He saw the Lancers because now Recon, the only thing he can do is snipe the landmark from Lucifron here. He could still knock out Lucifron. He's repairing that TC. Oh my goodness. That is too slow for repairs. I think he could get Lucifron here.
Yeah, the town center's going to try and come back up. We can see it's sitting on 18, 19, 2K, 2.1. It's going to take at least 30 seconds before that bad boy gets up, and we can see that the Lancers have just gone straight past, almost like a gentleman's agreement. He's not looking for Lucifron. No, he ain't interested in it. He wants Snooper, and he finds the villagers now on the shoreline. Let's see if he turns his attention towards it. No, not going to be the case.
Oh, he's turning back.
Oh, no.
He's coming back. I think he must have gotten the memo.
Yeah.
He must have gotten the memo about Lucifron's landmark.
These Mongol players are running rampage through this island right now. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, we can see that the men-at-arms have turned
he's looking for the Snoopavilles. Look at that. Oh, the poor guys.
he does not like Snooper, that is for sure. I don't know what Recon and Snooper have got between them, but it seems there may be a little bit of beef right now.
Oh man, that's gonna be a lot of losses. And Lucifron has to be happy with this because Lucifron got away with one over here. He could have lost the game with that landmark being sniped. And now here come the Lancers of Beast. The Beast is coming in to finish him. Dinky is joining the party as well. It's a race for that final landmark.
And just like a gazelle in the mouth of a lion, everybody now looks to try and get a piece of this action. I don't know how we're going to tell who gets this final attack.
My goodness.
They're trying their best, but it looks like the villagers from Dinky King may have had the final blow there. We've got an admin on site. They're going to be providing us their opinion about that one, but it may just be the case that we have to split points on that because that seemed very, very close between those three players. Our first player is knocked out. It's Lucifron. What else was close?
The town center being repaired. It was at 6.9k when the landmark went down. 2 more seconds and Lucifron is able to repair that town center to completion and survives the loss of that landmark. Oh my goodness, things are heating up over here, that's for sure.
Now, just to clarify things, because you guys would have seen a notification in this corner about a player that killed the landmark. I can confirm right now that it is not working as intended. There was a kill that happened last week. It was Don Artie killing Vortex, or killing Give You Anxiety. It came up in Vortex's color, but we checked the replay like 7 times. I'm not even kidding you. And Don Artie actually got the last hit. So I don't think it works based on last hit, which is the function that we're using at the moment. But now it looks like Cause joined the party over on this eastern flank. This party definitely wasn't a party that was too long for this world, was it? I mean, everybody was over here very happy.
Dinky. Look at this. All the landmarks out there, except for the starting piece, and Blade might be very happy with that. Blade could get the kill for this.
He's playing the long game. He said, well, I can kill the main town center, but then it's just one less, it's one less chance at points. Whereas here we can actually see that there's a possibility he just gets the final town center kill. Wingard's gone down. Villagers trying to repair it up. Dinky King going to be under attack here as those men-at-arms continue firing off on that town center. King's Palace goes down. At the same time, look at the villagers surrounding the council hall, but unfortunately their bows aren't going to be able to penetrate the armor of those elite lancers from Beastie Cutie.
Speaking of Lancers, a big detachment of Lancers heading north over here, lacking the elite upgrade actually for Recon. That might just be him forgetting about it. Will actually get trapped by the men-at-arms, but these were heading this way. They could have gone north to take down Dinky, or they could have gone even to the west to take down Snoopa, and Snoopa now lands into the base of Dinky here. Oh man, the two Aussies trying to work together over here, but they might just die right next to each other.
Yeah, we'll take a look at Snoopa's perspective. Keep in mind that Snoopa started down in the south. No way.
Look at Dinky's base. He's gonna get the kill for Dinky.
Oh, he knows that Dinky's here and there's no landmarks left. The final council hall has gone down. Now Dinky's got to try his best to get it back up. You can see that he's got plenty of spears out, but it might be a little bit too late. Over on this side, there are villagers. You can see them around the King's Palace. We'll take a look at and see exactly how much wood he's got in the bank, because that could be the difference. He's only got 500 wood. I think he's going to be able to get this up in time. Fortunately for him, insufficient wood is not going to be a thing of the past, and that main town center going to be going down now, but the second one has been repaired up, and now attention gets turned towards the Wingard Palace. Wingard Palace, insufficient wood going to be coming out here. Main town center goes down, and Dinky, he's managed to stay alive, and Beastie's definitely going to be asking that question. Where is that last landmark? What the hell? I took them all out. But now all of a sudden you've upset Core, and he's come back with his men-at-arms.
Can Core take this down? Remember, the King's Palace only has 2,500 HP, and the Spearmen aren't good against the men-at-arms, but so many units out here. I think Dinky is going to live to see another day here. He dodges a huge bullet over here. Oh man, he's gonna be ruined though. Like, his entire base is just one big rubble, but at least he lives to see another day. And that might not be something that Snoopa can say for himself, because remember, he's on one last landmark.
Yeah, it's really hard for Snoopa, but I think he might be hidden there. I don't think anybody knows about Snoopa being in that position, so I think he's going to be safe for the moment. But it looks like Dinky's managed to hold. He's managed to fortify this position. We can hear that Beastie's got those cannon emplacements, and he's trying his best to just force the issue over on this island, but I suspect this is not going to be the end of this war over on the island.
But now Dinky secures the right-hand side corner for himself for the first time in this game. You know, this was a contested land for a long time. Now it's only his. So in the very long run, his position here is actually going to be really good. And remember, he's playing the English, the perfect civ, to make sure that you don't have to move out on the map. He's got the farming, he's got the gold coming in from the farms as well. He might be lacking wood, but I mean, for an English player, this might be the best spot right now on the map.
Yeah, this is really interesting. We can also see that over in the north side, it looked like Snooper was trying to get a landmark up the Great Wall Gatehouse, but for whatever reason decided to cancel. I'm not sure whether he's moved on from that position. We'll take a look on board with him and see how he's doing, because he's got only 40 population at the moment. A lot of that is going to be over on the west side. Look, he's trying to find a place to put down a dock, but unfortunately there's also fishing boats for Beastie that are roaming back and forth between it. This isn't good right now for Snooper.
And just when Dinky thought that this might be over, there is a big army of men-at-arms now moving out here for Papipo. Remember, Papipo has been silent for a while, and he still is keeping Snoopa contained. He doesn't need to knock Snoopa out right now. He could instead go for a very much weakened Dinky, who only has spears. Obviously, just to remind the viewers, we don't see the communication between these players, but you know, there could be some communication between these players. You can only use the global chat, so you can't directly message someone, but you can say, hey, Dinky has his last landmark on the right-hand side island, only defending with spears, and that might be valuable intel for everybody, especially someone like Papipo, who's actually close to capitalize on it.
Yeah, really good point. Villagers now for Snooper going to be slowly but steadily running through the middle. He is going to be going up to Imperial with the Spirit Way. He's managed to put it up towards the north here, and he continues to cockroach through this game as the Chinese. Of all the civilizations he gets the Chinese, the supreme cockroach civilization. And damn, you just gotta... I'm rooting for him right now. Obviously, he's playing China, so that makes me feel good. But at the same time, he's been targeted multiple times throughout this game. His entire base has been cleaned out and has been repurposed for just a separate out land, it seems. But, I mean, he's trying his best to get it all back together.
Yeah, and that Spirit Way is actually very valuable, because now it's not going to be as easy for Papipo to snipe him as it could have been. And right now, we have a triple alliance. We've talked about this one. Beastie, Core, and Recon are definitely working together, so the question is, who becomes the first person that betrays the others? And of course, this also forces the others to just essentially form a necessary alliance here, because they need to fight against 3 players here with combined efforts.
Well, it looks like we've got ourselves a battle beginning to break out in the middle of the map. Recon is running into the base of Papipo, but Papipaw's got plenty of men-at-arms there to deal with those heavy lancers, or those elite lancers. He's going to be able to force them back, and there definitely seems to be a lack of walls here for him. The Palace of Swabia for Papipo has been placed relatively close to those 3 starting landmarks, but keep in mind that there's not really much of a threat for him. I suspect he's going to be able to stonewall quite efficiently over on this eastern flank.
I mean, that's a possibility. In the meantime, Core is playing D-Day Simulator over here, just landing with a bunch of men-at-arms to try and wipe out Dinky. He still knows that those are landmarks he needs to snipe, and he actually takes a good fight against the Spearman. But now he knows. I think that's the more important thing here. He knows that Dinky is right there, and Dinky is weakened, whereas for Core, he has been booming for a long, long time. The only thing that he is not doing is trading, while in the meantime, guys, Recon is trading.
Recon is trading, guys, but Beastie seems to allow it. He seems to accept it. So a rare occasion right there where Beastie accepts someone is trading, but I'm sure it will come out eventually. Recon is indeed trading. Core looks to overrun his opponent over on this eastern flank, and keep in mind, Dinky is in Imperial, still yet to grab that Chad armor upgrade. In fact, he has got the upgrade. It's just he's yet to get all of the upgrades from his armory or his blacksmith right now.
It looks like we're going to have a very chaotic next 20-25 minutes ahead of us, because as we talked about this one, if you take a look at the minimap, there is basically no part of the map that is not contested or controlled by anyone. It is already saturated with players, so you're going to have to start killing others here to get yourself some more land. And Papipo, keep in mind that he's got that central area with all the gold accessible, so he's going to be more than happy with that. Looks like right now it's gonna be a war between Blade and Beastie Cutie over here. He's the first one to stand up against the Triple Alliance.
Let's see how he goes, as those horsemen on the front side are doing their best to try and take out those hand cannoneers, but fortunately they've got a pretty decent little front space there. Now, keep in mind, Blade is playing as the Deli, which means that he's going to have scholars out. They're going to be cheaper scholars as well, and he forces back this position. Those bombards are going to have to head back towards the base of Beastie with their tail between their legs, because this is not a decent amount of units here to hold. Unfortunately for him, he's going to lose 2, 3 bombards potentially.
That's a lot of bombards going down the drain over here. And Beastie, he's got a good resource bank. It's not going to be a concern for him, but he's making transports, which makes me wonder whether he's concerned about this push over here, because he doesn't have a big standing army. 39 military, and most of that are just bombards. Sure enough, he has a couple of bombard towers, but if Blade gets through this one, this actually could get concerning. Do keep in mind that down at the bottom, the Deer Stones is in the base of Recon, so Beastie wouldn't get defeated, but it could be very concerning for him. And now we are seeing sort of a mutual share of that trading post on that island on the right side between the players. Beastie's also moving out to trade with that.
Beastie is trading. Puppy Paw also going to be doing a little bit of trade as well. He's got 85 gold a pop coming in there towards that position. Also, interestingly, it looks like Snooper is getting cleaned up over on this island. It seems that the Dinky wants to take the entire island for himself. I suspect he's probably going to allow this landmark to remain, but that might be it, because obviously that just serves as the potential killing blow that he can issue at any time.
And as I said before, because you have a Recon, Core, and Beastie teaming up, that essentially creates an alliance between Dinky, Blade, and Puppy Paw out of necessity. Because you can't stand up against 3 players when you're alone. And this is what we're seeing over here. Puppy Paw, he just walked past the army of Blade over here, and now Puppy Paw is focusing his efforts on Beastie as well. Wouldn't be surprised to see some combined efforts from Purple and Red to push Beastie over here. That is probably the weakest link in the Triple Alliance, Beastie's Peninsula. If you ever breach it, you can wipe out Beastie's eco essentially to nothing.
Yeah, it's a really good point. But as you mentioned earlier, keep in mind that Step Redoubt is down towards the south, so he might get knocked out, but he won't. He will be able to get back up, that is for sure.
Yeah, that's exactly it. But, I mean, at this point, for the alliance of Puppy Paw, Blade, and Dinky, the best thing they can do is just make sure that they are not up against 3 fully boomed players, especially players who are very dangerous like Beastie late game, and who have the tendency to just sit back and wait, bank up resources, and then pop a wonder when you don't expect it. But it looks like those Matarms are actually heading to the south, so Recon might be the target. Remember that Recon and Puppy Paw have been fighting for a while now with Lancers and Men-at-Arms, so one has to wonder if Puppy Paw actually wants to try to do some damage over here on Recon, especially because Recon is trading.
Recon is indeed trading, but if his allies have said anything, I suspect he's going to become a very quick target. But speaking of quick targets, the Men-at-Arms are going to be running in towards the base of Dinky King, looking for that last landmark of Snoopers. Indeed, they've found it. And now Snooper's landmark, once again, going to be targeted by the Men-at-Arms. I think he's got a handful of villagers over here. In fact, no, he's evacuating 7 villagers out from this eastern position. Might need to bring them back just to repair up this Imperial Palace. It is going to be a consistent target throughout this game from these players. They just keep hunting that Chinese player down. They do not want him in the game.
Yeah, the Spirit Way on the left side has been destroyed by a couple of Lancers, so it's only the Imperial Palace and the Clock Tower on the north alive. And remember that Clock Tower could be sniped any moment by Puppy Paw. So, Snoopa, he still should be concerned about this one. And now it looks like Blade was waiting for the Trebuchets to arrive. He's ready to push Beastie, and Recon knows that Recon is coming in here to help, but how much can you do against now a fully boomed and fully upgraded Imperial Age Delhi player? Because now the Delhi upgrades are coming in. You see the elephants have the crossbow emplacements on them. Those scholars are fully upgraded as well. A lot of hand cannoneers, trebuchets. Beastie could be in trouble here.
Yeah, ideally what he'd want to do is focus down those trebuchets. That's going to be the big key. As long as he's able to kill those trebuchets, he should be able to stall out the push. But there's a lot of scholars here as well, and they'll be able to heal up these elephants if things do go south.
Yeah, I love how Beastie's trading though, and honestly, I feel like he should be the #1 target for the alliance of Puppy Paw, Blade, and Dinky, because if Beastie's allowed to boom, he's gonna be a devastating player to fight against. He already has a big resource bank, and he's got a very good trade on the right-hand side. Looks like he's actually migrating with not villagers, but Lancers and Bombards. This might be a landmark snipe on Blade, and if you take a look at Blade's base, most of his landmarks are very close to one another. It's difficult to land on this side though because of all those cliffs.
Linecore, I've got big news. It is that Snooper does not look likely to hold on for much longer. The only way I think he can remain in this game is if he somehow sneaks his gate, or his Great Gate Wall House, or Great Wall Gatehouse, because he has been found. Recon has finally found him. He came across the map. He chased him from the south all the way over to the eastern island, and then finally up to this northern finger. But he has found the landmark, and he's now turned his attention towards it. Both horsemen together with those elite lancers are going to work to take it down.
Look at the northern side though. Mongol forces landing in D-Day 2022 colorized. This is what we are seeing over here because that is a big landmark snipe attempt here from Beastie. And we talked about this one. All the landmarks are on the same screen here for Blade. Blade might be out in a matter of seconds because his army is too slow to react to this.
Dome of the Faith, main town center, House of Learning, and of course, the Hussar Academy. They are all very close to each other. And now Blade heads back to his base. Hand Cannoneer is going to be running back as quickly as possible. But at the same time, Recon going to be pushing in as well from the south side. I think you're 100% right. I don't think there's any way that Blade holds this right now. Beastie coming in with a bit of a snipe. Village is actually going to be moving out towards those bombards. If he's able to take down the bombards, he might be able to slow it down. But at the same time, over towards that eastern front, we can see that the villagers, or rather the elite lancers are looking to take out that clock tower from Snooper. But unfortunately for Blade, it looks like it might be good game here as the second landmark does go down. Third landmark, fourth landmark about to go down, and Beastie Cutie claims 3 points as Blade 5555 is our 7th player knocked out. Or not knocked out, but 7th player.
Survives though.
No way.
Because look at that. Clock tower still getting repaired. It's going to be contested between Lucifron or Papipo and Recon. But on the right side, he repaired the Imperial Palace. He's once again surviving. Can he outlast Blade? I mean, he was dead for so long, yet he's still in this game. And keep in mind that you are playing for points over here, which means that even if you can't win the game, like right now, Snoopa is very far away from winning the game. But every single player that gets knocked out ahead of you is something that benefits you quite heavily. Now it should be Dinky who knocks him out, though. I mean, he can do that in a blink of an eye.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. He can do that but the other thing is that he can also use that landmark and try and use the fact that Snoop is in the game to push the other players towards a direction, try and use his existence to manipulate the other players.
True. Like, one of the things that is not really talked about here, and this might be difficult for someone that is, you know, just watching the cast to comprehend, is that we have God vision over here. Like, we see everything, but the vision of the players is much more limited in these games. The maps are gigantic, so for most players, some of the parts of the map is not even scouted. Like, let's say if you look at Snoopa's POV, he has no idea how Beastie's Peninsula looks like on the left side. A lot of dark spots still on the map, and he doesn't even have the slightest clue of what the others are doing. So, as you pointed out, yeah, sure thing, you might even see the score of one player, but as long as he's still in game, many players will be completely unaware of how strong exactly he is.
Interesting strategy coming out from Core at the moment on the south side. Now, this is in theme with Core and the way that he likes to play. He's not known for his efficiencies, and once again going to demonstrate, you know, good lumber camp placement. So the way that he's placed his lumber camp here, I mean, this is just perfect stuff. He's got it between 3 sets of forests, and he's using that same lumber camp to actually mine all 3 of these forests. It's a super smart move and something that I really appreciate out of the German. This is high-value stuff.
Yeah, obviously, I agree with you. Obviously, you might be looking at this one and say, oh, it would be better to just replace the lumber camp every 15 seconds. But keep in mind that conserving your APM and attention is actually very valuable. Like, these games have the tendency of going 1.5 hours, 2 hours long.
Exactly.
So you don't want to be like hardcore microing and macroing all the time and just replacing lumber camps whenever needed. And this allows you to focus your attention elsewhere.
Especially for a guy like Core, when you're doing 3 actions a minute, like, you've got to really regulate those actions. I love Core. I love him. You guys know we're just joking. We love Core. Oh, jeez. But in all seriousness, Core.
Ooh, Recon. He's coming in for that final kill on Snoopa. He might have been... Actually, he knows about this landmark. I mean, that's the only reasonable place where Snoopa can be. Recon knew about this landmark already, so the only reasonable explanation for Snoopa still being alive is that this is here, and you see that the 2 Aussies are now working together over here. Dinky trying to save Snoopa from complete destruction.
Really trying to destroy him, but you can see that landmark's going down pretty quick, and these are only horsemen. I think this landmark might go down. There's no villagers here to repair this either. We might see Snoopa getting tapped out here. I'm going to switch to the perspective of Dinky just so that we don't get knocked out with him. This landmark's slowly going down. There's lancers trying their best, but the crossbows are actually doing a pretty decent job. It's down to about 2k health. The problem is, if it starts burning, there's going to be no way he's able to repair that bad boy back up. They continue to try and take it down. He's got to be careful here as well, because there might be friendly fire. It looks like the landmark... Oh, no! And then Dinky says, he's mine, baby. Give those points to me. And Dinky takes the last 3 points off Snoopa. Yoink! Thank you very much. Snoopa is out. He is going to be our... Let me just count that one up. That's our 6th place finish right there.
Now, many of you might be wondering, why he didn't just kill him before, but this is where diplomacy could come into play. Like, that landmark was down to 1700 HP, and it was seriously pressured by Lancers, and there is a new patch of Lancers coming in from the north. So if you are Dinky right now, and you have to explain this to your friend Snoopa, you'd probably say, oh, sorry, I misclicked. I tried to focus down that one horseman right next to landmark. I accidentally misclicked my army on my landmark, or your landmark, and it just got killed like that. Like, this could realistically be a thing. It looks less like a betrayal when you're fighting right next to the landmark and then suddenly you throw some torches.
Oh, man, it feels bad for Snooper. He tried to get that last landmark up the Great Wall Gatehouse. Unfortunately, it never came up, and with that, he's going to be knocked out. But speaking of knockouts, Puppy Paw fighting for his life right now. We can see that Beastie's moving in over from his western flank, obviously clearing out Blade up towards the north, has opened up this position, and now those horsemen going to be looking to charge in, or rather those knights going to be looking to charge in, together with those lancers, the bombards, looking to try and dish out damage. But as I mentioned earlier, Puppy Paw's put all of his landmarks together here, and playing as the Holy Roman Empire, he's only got 4 of them. So it makes it a bit more difficult for him. Now, he does have Court Architects through, which means that he's got a little bit more health on these landmarks, but at the same time, when you're playing up against 2, even potentially 3 people, it could get really difficult, because we know this alliance down towards the south, it's starting to get some real fruits of its labor.
Yeah, and this is actually very surprising to me, because right now, you get the feel that Recon, Core, and Beastie are thinking the same thing. Like, okay, we might betray, well, we will betray each other at one point, but right now, it's more beneficial for us to be essentially the top 3 of this game, because it's definitely quite a lot of collaboration in between them. You see Lancers from Recon in the north burning down the towers, then you have the push in from the middle in Beastie's perspective, and of course Core is pushing this, but I love how all the players behind this one are setting themselves up for a potential betrayal. It's exactly like that, you know that once the mutual enemy is gone, someone's gonna betray the others, and I feel like Beastie is one step ahead with that setup. Look at how he distributed his landmarks. There's the Deer Stones inside the base of Recon, he's got that peninsula on the left, and he has hidden the step right out to the north. He's well prepared for potential backstab from his neighbors, and especially Core, because we know that you cannot trust Core in FFAs.
And that's exactly it. And remember, Core is playing the Abbasid Dynasty. There's a chance that he could very easily get sniped out. And you can see, as a response to playing the Abbasid Dynasty, and remember, he doesn't get to pick his civilization here.
Oh, the D-Day!
The D-Day is happening, but there's not too much to worry about.
Oh, he's got a Xebec to sink the transports with. I gotta be cheering for Core, I'm sorry. I mean, he made a Xebec. You cannot not love this guy.
I think that the interesting thing is that he has rolled the Abbasid Dynasty here. Look at the keeps around the 2 landmarks. Look at all of the outposts that are here. If you want to try and take him down, good luck. Good luck to try and take him down. And speaking of taking him down, we see some elite lancers. I don't know if these guys are doing a bit of a run through, a run past, looking for villages, or what they're up to, but they're getting taken out.
I think he went for him. I honestly feel that Recon tried to backstab Core here, but then he saw the keeps and was like, there's no way I get through that. And if that happens, like, I will just get overrun by Core, because keep in mind that Recon is also very much confined into this corner, and I think Recon is actually the weakest link right now in the Triple Alliance. He's surrounded by the other 2, he's got limited map control, and you don't want to anger Core over here, that's for sure.
Well, speaking of angry, Beastie has lost his entire army over on this base of Puppy Paw. Puppy Paw going to be able to keep everything alive. He's actually emergency repairing up the landmarks so that he gets to save wood. Because remember, in the late game, it's obviously wood, a finite source. But now we've actually got a bit of a landmark snipe coming through. Recon, once again, going to be turning his attention towards the landmarks, making sure that he saves the King's Palace to last. It's got the lowest health. But we can see a huge amount of army coming in for Dinky King on this backside. There are plenty of units in here, plenty of production, and Dinky's in a great little spot here, isn't he?
Yeah, and this is what we talked about, like, you don't want to give this peninsula to anyone, let alone an English player, and we are seeing the fruits of that now. Dinky is fully boomed, and honestly, that Triple Alliance is no longer as stable as it used to be, because obviously, it is in the mutual interests of Puppy Paw and Dinky to work together now. They both got attacked by the alliance of Core, Recon, and Beastie, so they are essentially allies, but there's a difference between them and the Triple Alliance. There is no land connection between Dinky and Puppy, so they can essentially avoid engaging each other or even fighting for map control. Whereas if you take a look at Recon, Core, and Beastie, like, at some point, Core is going to bump into the base of Recon over here. Core could just march on the base of Recon at any given moment. So I feel like the level of distrust, or at least the possibility for distrust, is much higher in the Triple Alliance as compared to Dinky and Puppy Paw working together.
And keep in mind, the 4 landmarks as well for Recon, they're all in the same space. So we've got the White Stupa, we've got the main town center, and then we've got the Silver Tree, and then just below that, a little bit further, we've got the Step Redoubt. So unlike Beastie, who's put landmarks in every single corner of this map, Recon's got them in only one place, and that makes it very difficult for him, because in the event a snipe comes through, it will be very quick.
I just want to highlight one very important thing that we kind of overlooked, and now that we have a bit of a peaceful moment, we can talk about this. Look at the base of Recon. He's using a prayer tent as an OVU to allow double production. This is actually one of the most underappreciated Mongol features, something that you don't commonly see in 1v1s, but there is a tech that turns your prayer tents into OVUs, or at least in terms of the double production or unique upgrades, or the improved upgrades, and he's actually using that quite actively. I love that move. I just wanted to sort of touch on this one because I feel like, especially in team games, this is a really valuable thing to know.
I'll be honest, I've never once seen or heard or even knew that that was possible. And at first I thought you were joking, and then I clicked on the archery ranges, and he's got 2 times bonus. So you're 100% right. I've never seen that before.
I actually love to do it when I play 2v2s with Salami. What I do is that, like, if I do a Silver 3 trade boom, I start by making traders on the Silver Tree right next to my OVU. And as I get close to Imperial, I move the Silver Tree to the corner, and I move a monastery with it. So that way, I can always have the double production available. Like, once I get to Imp, I get the technology, and I keep double training on the Silver Tree in the corner. That's actually a pretty POC thing to do.
That's smart. Yeah, I never realized that. That's really cool. Well, it looks like Dinky is going to be forcing Recon off his island. I mean, it's not really an island. You guys know that. It is technically connected to the mainland. It's a bit more of a... I don't know how to describe it. I probably should learn the words for all of these interesting little things, but he's now going to be forcing out these lancers, and he's held his position over on this eastern front. The one thing to note, though, is there doesn't seem to be any sort of big defensive structures. There's no walls over here, so he is always going to be open for snipes. And maybe a smart thing for him to do would actually be looking to secure up these ponds towards the north.
Wait a minute, look at those trade ships. I'm just now realizing for Puppy Paw, they can... What? What is that? They can sail through the land over there, apparently. I can foresee demolition ships being used here. Like, if you are core, if you're Beastie QT, you consider demos here because you have such a high upside. I mean, we've been joking about demo ships, but look at that clumped up army of men-at-arms and crossbows. Just imagine 2 or 3 demo ships hitting that.
That's a really good point, yeah, if they came in from the south side. Where were you talking about that they could sail through? The trade ships?
Essentially where the Stonewall foundations of Dinky are. So you see that this, essentially this patch of land that connects Dinky's island, I saw 2 trade ships pass to the base of Puppy Paw. So
really?
You can sail it. Apparently you can.
Oh yeah, they're fully loaded trade ships. Weird, okay. Okay, that's very interesting. So the whole sea connects through. Well, now it looks like we've got another potential snipe coming through. These guys are working their best together. I did see up towards the north that Beastie's actually got a whole bunch of bombards. Sorry, go for it.
Yeah, I was looking at a different type of snipe because we might have a double team here. Look at that. South of the base of Dinky, 2 Baoshans grouping up, but what's even more interesting is 2 transports full of knights waiting for orders on the north, and you see there is a bit of a small base over here for Recon to the north of Puppy Paw with a bunch of stables. He's massing cavalry, but he's not sending them into the base of Puppy right now. He's putting them into transports ready to land inside the base of Dinky.
Yeah, wow. All right, well, we'll have to see how he plays it because Puppy Paw is looking like he might be under threat here. We can see these bombards that are coming around into position, and I suspect he might be looking for a snipe on Puppy Paw here because keep in mind, Puppy's got all 4 of those landmarks all grouped together. He's got emergency repairs, but I don't think it's going to be enough to get through 9 bombards, and Beastie just bides his time waiting. In fact, bringing even more bombards now. 3 more bombards going to be coming in for him, and we'll check in on how Recon is doing over in that corner. You can see he's coming in from the south side. He's really opening up a nice little front down towards his south position.
Yeah, looks like knights are actually moving out here for Puppy Paw towards Beastie's position, but as you said, there is going to be a potential landing over here, and I wonder if it's going to be combined with the horseman push from the north by Recon. The Triple Alliance is still standing strong, and it's very interesting to look at that these guys, these are working together, and right now, neither of them is willing to betray the other because You betray someone over here, you might be the next player getting knocked out, and you will get the 5th spot only. So there's actually quite a lot of interest for these players to work together here, simply because, you know, even if you don't win the game, you know, 3rd, 4th place is still more valuable than betraying someone and then potentially getting knocked out as the 5th player remaining in the game.
Yeah, and that's exactly it, because then for the rest of the tournament, people are going to know you as a person that they can't trust. But take a look at these emplacements now coming down. Recon was going for a little bit of a snipe here on the Swabia. He's going to get absolutely cleaned up by these emplacements. Puppy Paw looking to hold on, looking very strong. But now Beastie is coming across. He's bringing across the 12 bombards. He's found himself a little spot. There's a single emplacement on that outpost that's going to try and defend, but the bombards all get out. Boom chakalaka is going to happen. You're going to be having to call the Venga boys after this, because these bombards, these guys mean business right now, and there are 4 landmarks all within an arm's reach that might be taken out very, very shortly. They're trying to make their way through.
Camel archers are coming in. Culverins are distracted. The Culverins aren't shooting the bombards because they're distracted by the camel archers. And even with the emergency repair, spots of Schwabia gone, I think this is going to be a snipe for Beastie.
He's taken down the 1st landmark. The 2nd landmark now going to be taken down. 3rd landmark is down. And Beastie looking to take down that 4th landmark, picking up a 2nd kill this game. Everybody unloads. And indeed, that last landmark goes over to Beastie Cutie. He is victorious here, knocking out our 4th player of the game. It is going to be Puppy Paw, and only 4 remain. Dinky King has managed to cockroach himself to the corner. Not playing the Chinese today, playing the English, but still cockroaching nonetheless. At the same time, over on the western flank, we've got Beastie, who's set up base over here, and he's looking very happy and healthy. Plenty of infrastructure. Down towards the south, we've got our alliance between Recon and Core. And now, Liticor, the question is, who folds first?
Yeah, it's a great question, right? Like, there is still Dinky King, and one thing that you gotta consider is that the moment you betray this triple alliance, you're gonna get double teamed. So, when are you pulling the trigger? If you do it well, like for example, if you are Core and you can snipe down Recon really fast, you're fine. On the other hand, if something goes wrong, you will be double teamed over here. Are you willing to pull the trigger right now, or are you first working towards Dinky? And honestly, for Dinky, he just needs to wait here. He needs to wait for someone to become trigger happy in that alliance and just jump on the others. Beastie, by the way, is banking up like a truckload of resources, and remember, he is the Mongols, so he doesn't even need stone for a wonder. He has actually hidden the stepper out to the northernmost corner in here. I think for Beastie, you could start thinking about just fortifying this one crossing he has to the land, and then thinking about the wonder.
I got to agree. I think Beastie's in prime position here. A wonder coming down here at the back of his base. As long as he's got plenty of
Beastie's
outposts
leaving
up.
with the deer stones.
Where's he going?
He's leaving Recon's base with the deer stones. That could be a sign of things to come.
Yeah, he doesn't trust it. He knows that there's danger down that way, and he's got to get out of there. He's looking to evacuate out. He's managed to make it through the base at the moment of Core, but Core now looking to do a bit of a counterattack over towards this other front. He's had this whole beachhead cleared out by Recon, and now Core comes through with the elite Camel Archers. And you can see he's going to be trying his best just to kite his way back towards this beach. But it definitely seems like nothing is broken in the alliance just yet.
Yeah, it looks like they are going to finish off that last mutual enemy out there, and honestly, that's a smart thing to do, because we talked about this one, you're lacking information. You don't know what exactly Dinky's position is in right now. Like, you let Dinky live, he might win the game. I'm not joking, because he's in a great defensive position with a civilization that doesn't need a ton of map control, the English. You don't want to let him live, and you see, he still has a respectable army. He's got the Wingard Palace, he's got an insane late game. We talked about this one, English late game is just so powerful. You don't want to let him live, because you start fighting each other on this land. Dinky, I think they're afraid of Dinky just dropping a wonder in the corner once they start killing each other.
I think that's exactly it, and they're very scared of him doing that. But obviously, we've got God Vision. We know the truth. Dinky's got 24 stone in the bank. There's no way he's getting enough resources to drop a wonder. Even if he sold all of his food right now, I still don't think he could afford the stone alone at the market for that wonder. So it's going to be tough for him to try and pull some sort of magic out over on this position. But he does hold on for dear life.
Oh, looks like D-Day is now coming in here. Bombards are landing, but there's trebuchets to greet them. And I'm not sure if this snipe is going to work out here for Beastie. He actually pops the maneuver arrow for those units, but the numbers just feel overwhelming over here. I don't think they can knock out Dinky here.
They're going to try as hard as they can. Beginning to focus down the first landmark. It's going to be the Council Hall. And you can see just how quickly they take it down. First shot comes through. Second shot going to be taking it down. They're going to have to move down towards this King's Palace as well. But Dinky's got so many damn units in here. I don't think there's any way these bombards are getting through this amount of units.
Yeah, and this is what they're afraid of. Like, they are legitimately afraid of the fact that, hey, Dinky's playing the English. He's got millions of men-at-arms, crossbows, and trebuchets. And he's in a very well-defendable position. If we start killing each other, we are going to see him potentially punish us for that. Keep in mind that the starting TC of Dinky is gone, so only 3 landmarks out there to snipe. But it looks like still no betrayal in the Alliance. And honestly, if you're Beastie, you might start considering a betrayal here now. Because you could easily jump on the others, and you are in a defendable position just as much as Dinky is. So I feel like Dinky and Beastie are in very similar positions here when it comes to their locations on the map. It is just the fact that Beastie has 2 more allies alive, right?
Yeah, and we take a look at Beastie's resources. It is just... I mean, it tells the whole story, doesn't it? He's got 150,000 plus resources in the bank right now. It is
He's got no army.
Wait, what?
155 eco, no army. Look at that. He's getting ready. He's getting ready. He's dropping a bunch of bombard emplacements on those towers. This is something that Beastie loves to do in FFAs. Just bank up resources forever, wait it out, and while the others are fighting, quietly fortify your base, and then just drop the Wonder, and no one's gonna be able to push you. And like, when we see him dropping that Wonder, he's gonna delete all that eco, or at least the villagers. He might keep the trade, and then turn those resources that he has in the bank. I mean, he is sitting on tens of thousands of resources. He would just turn it all into army and towers, and good luck pushing it.
Yeah, well, good luck pushing it indeed. Now, keep in mind, Dinky has run out of wood. At the moment, he's got none in his name at all. He's got 166 in the bank. So it means he's not going to be able to repair up all of these wonders, or landmarks, rather, in the event.
Look to the south. A lot of Lancers now coming in here for recon. Are we seeing a betrayal finally?
Oh, I can't see it. Oh, I see it now. Oh, Lord. Oh, okay. Yeah, we may have ourselves a betrayal finally on the cards. Now, this is going to be something that we're going to have to reassess as well as to whether we let alliances get this big, because obviously this alliance has taken over the game, and how do you take down 3 players coordinating when they've got that geographic collectivity together? So that's going to be a question. We're going to have to look at that, deal with it, and answer as to whether we think that's healthy for the FFAs. But it definitely...
He might be going for Beastie.
He's turning his attention... I think he realizes that he can't do this. You can't do this without siege. You're going to have to bring bombards.
Yeah, like, this is curious. I mean, you get the feel that he tried to landmark snipe one of his allies, and then he realized that this is way too much for him to handle. Now he's turned to the north. He might still be heading towards Denki, but, like, as we talked about this one, you are sending your units into the grinder. Like, everybody is sending their units into the grinder, but someone behind this is preparing the next step, and that is Beastie. Like, if you are just sending your units in to kill Dinky, you're playing into Beastie's hands, because Beastie is 1 step ahead of you. He's getting ready for that Wonder. He's setting himself up. Look at that. Production buildings, towers, everywhere with bombard emplacements, including the shoreline. So he's prepared for landings even. Beastie is just waiting for the right opportunity to drop that Wonder. And it looks like Recon, he still honors the Alliance, just like Core. This is getting concerning for them, because Beastie at this pace might win the game.
Yeah, I got to agree. I think Beastie's definitely in prime position here. We'll check in with them and see how they're doing, because Core's got plenty of resources stacked up as well. But keep in mind, he's got nowhere near the same amount of gold. He's only got 2,500 stone, so he's going to need to find some more stone from somewhere, whether that's trading or whether that is going to be through markets. But obviously, we've also got Beastie that's doing trade down towards this south side as well. He's got plenty of trade ships out here. In fact, how many trade ships does he actually have? Let's take a look. He's got 34 traders. 34 trade ships down here.
They're not super effective, but I mean, they are still good.
Yeah.
So it's 85 per turn, and these have been operating for a long time. Looks like... Oh, Beastie, I love it! Look at what he's doing with the Horseman in the north. He's burning farms. He has gotten the bounty upgrades. Beastie's banking up on a ton of stone and resources by burning down the leftover buildings from the dead players.
I can't find it, but I trust you. Oh, I see him now. I see it. Okay, that's a smart move, actually. But it looks like they're trying once again to finish off Dinky King here. We can see that they're almost doing it. It's a bit like a little bit of a battle royale. Everybody playing up against Dinky. Nobody bringing all their armies together at the same time. But now all the Lancers are going to be running in with the Horsemen. Coming in for round 16 as Dinky King tries to hold on in this 1v3 over on his little island. The trebuchets looking to fire down upon them. We can see that the unit numbers that he's got here just, unfortunately, just path so poorly. And now he turns his attention towards a stable as he tries to get out, realizing that he may have bitten off more than he could chew.
Yeah, and the thing is that Dinky is holding over here, and this is getting concerning because all that Dinky is doing is holding this one. He's got the Network of Citadels bonus, keep in mind, so like the trades that he's taking, these are not bad. If you look at his resource bank, it's essentially the same than what he had like 10 minutes ago. So it's not like he is really getting pushed back over here. And this is the state where you're going to start considering, is it worth it for me to continue pushing Dinky and just keep losing my armies? Or do I have to think about something else? Because really, you can try sniping production buildings. Dinky's a little low on wood, and that could be a concern. But it would take so much work to finish off Dinky right now, if you are the Alliance of Beastie. And you also have to consider, as I said, that you will get betrayed at one point. This game mode is about betray or be betrayed.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. It's super smart how they're targeting his buildings here. They're not going after the council hall because they know that if they do that, it's likely that they're going to die. But so what we're going to do is just target the infrastructure. Hit the houses, hit the archery ranges, hit the barracks. He's not going to be able to replace the units enough in time. And then it means that maybe we don't kill him on this attack. Maybe we don't kill him on the next one. But the next one, that's when we're going to get him.
Yeah, that's a smart thing. They probably realize that he's lacking wood to make houses. He just bought a bunch of it himself. I think they noticed the building rubbles and realized that the infrastructure is not being rebuilt on the front. And if you see that, you might get the conclusion that, hey, he's lacking wood. And it's not a terrible idea. I mean, he's confined into this peninsula for a long, long time. He's not trading, so he might be lacking wood indeed.
Yeah,
and if you know that, you snipe the houses because those houses are actually more important and more valuable than the individual units that you would kill.
Yeah, really good point. Because as you can see, he's sitting on 130 pop now, 120 at the pop, 120 pop, continuing to lose houses now and looking to try and replace them. But we can see more and more units being rallied in towards this. He is really holding on. But now it looks like Beastie has finally made some more units over here. It's going to be horsemen, more horsemen that are coming out for him. He's got plenty of space back in the base. And the question is going to be just not a matter of if, but rather a matter of when this wonder gets placed down. You can see he's got a nice big open space in the middle for it as well.
Now, how are the rules right now? Like, you are getting extra points for placing a wonder when there is 4 people still alive, right? You don't have to finish through, you don't have to win the game with it, but the critical number is 4, right?
Correct, yes. So if you place...
So he's waiting.
Yeah, so if there's 4 people alive...
He can drop it right now.
And you drop a wonder, it needs to complete, so you can't just drop it and leave it. You need to actually drop it, complete it, begin the timer. As long as there's 4 people alive when that happens, then you're going to be getting those extra juicy points. Instead of getting just 15 for the win, you're going to get a total of 20. And that's how we attract people and try and tell them to get that wonder out a little bit earlier. But you can see here that they're hesitant to do it. And I think the reason why is because Beastie knows that he can hold off both core and recon. But he's not going to be able to hold off Dinky King as well. You can see how strong Dinky has been here. And even though he's got all of his production in his base, it's just a whole bunch of units that he's going to have to deal with that he doesn't want to deal with. So he really needs to make sure that Dinky is dead or just about to die before he drops that wonder. Because if it happens before then there's a chance that his 2 teammates, his 2 alliances could turn around and look to bring their daggers out.
I 100% agree with you because Dinky, like, he is struggling here, but he still has a very strong standing army supported by cheap trebuchets. And you don't want to fight off, like, as you pointed out, you want to get the extra points for dropping the wonder when there is 4 players alive. But you don't want to fight 4 players, you want to fight 3.5 players, is essentially.
Yeah.
And I think part of the reason why Beastie is so active when it comes to pushing Dinky here is because he wants to keep an eye out on what's happening here. Remember, if he doesn't have an army here, he doesn't know what's happening. And what he needs is that he wants to see when Dinky's army has been decimated. If he doesn't see a lot of units inside Dinky's base anymore, he knows that Dinky is weakened enough for him to drop that wonder, and he's waiting for that opportunity.
All right, well, we'll have to think about how this plays out because obviously we've got 3 up against 1 at the moment. Dinky's trying his best to hold on, but you got to feel bad for Dinky. We saw last week that him and Snooper worked well together throughout the whole game, but it was just those 2. But now we've got 3 players looking to take over it, and I think the question needs to be asked, when you've got this many units that are all preparing to kill an individual player, maybe we got to look at something. So that's something that we're going to head away from this game with. And we can see that now these units look to try and take it in. We'll get a bit of a cinematic shot there as everybody looks to come across the island bridge. Core is going to be leading everyone in. He's going to be trying to take down Dinky's army. The Camel Archers are going to be working in mass, and at the same time behind this, Beastie comes in with the Horsemen from the south side, dropping down that movement speed arrow. He's looking to burn down some of those archery ranges. And over towards the north, the Lancers run in, and Dinky looks to try and defend. Right now, we're entering into a cinematic view just to witness it as he tries his best to hold on, but unfortunately, when there are this many players left in the game, you've got to start wondering if there's any possible way that Dinky holds on.
Beastie's 5 heading this one, by the way. He's taking the south. I think he's waiting for his allies to destroy the other 2 landmarks, because remember, the King's Pass is the weakest landmark. So you can wait right next to the King's Pass, or at least close by, and snipe it down when the other landmarks are gone. And you see the Council Hall is going down. The moment the Council Hall is gone, Beast is going to turn north. He hasn't dropped the Wonder yet, though, so he's going to forfeit those extra points out there, which means he needs to get this final kill. Otherwise, he's missing out on some points. Council Hall set on fire now, but the Wingard Palace still standing strong. And I mean, look at the crossbow numbers. Dinky might once again hold this.
There's no way that Dinky holds this again right now. This guy is insane. I tell you what, I'm not going to change the rules on the fly, but if I was going to give 10 points to someone for being an absolute Giga Chad, it is Dinky King right now. How is he defending against this 3v1?
Oh, man. I mean, Beastie, by the way, is playing this one smart. You see, he's burning down the infrastructure, and now he sees that his opponent is weakened enough. Like, he should know that Dinky is weakened enough now. By the way, every single house he burns down, he gets 75 stone for it. So that is going to help fortifying his base as well. And you see, town centers are gone, infrastructure is gone. I think this is the moment where you pull the trigger on a Wonder if you're Beastie. I wonder if that's gonna be the plan for him. I think there is no better timing than this one. Dinky is weakened enough.
I feel like once you're at 100,000 gold, it's probably, I mean, at that point, maybe it's safe to drop a Wonder. I think there's a chance that you may run out of gold, but, I mean...
Start buying wood.
At this point in time, like...
I'm not joking.
That's actually a good point.
Because the wood is a limited resource over here, and the market prices will inflate as you go deeper and deeper into the game. You can't bank more than 100,000 gold here, so the best thing that you can do is just buy as much wood as you can, inflate the market prices, and bank yourself up from probably the most limiting resource in late game.
Well, it looks like a single landmark remains right now for Dinky King. He's trying his best to hold on for dear life. His main town center obviously was burned down many, many years ago. But now that King's Palace is going to be repaired up with the villagers underneath it. Keep in mind the consequence of having so little health on that landmark is that it's very easy to get back up to full health.
That's absolutely true. And he still has 150 army. I mean, he's down to 30 villagers. Right now, he's just waiting and hoping that someone betrays this alliance. Like, that's exactly it. It's like, you get that impression of the Napoleonic Wars, where you have like a giant empire falling on top of you, and you're just hoping that someone is going to jump out of that alliance, someone betraying the great leader. And then when that happens, it's gonna be a complete collapse though, because suddenly, like, I can really see Dinky surviving this if someone becomes trigger happy from this alliance.
He's got only 5 wood in the bank, and with his last 100 wood, he actually drops the market. It was sieged down in that last attempt to kill him.
Ooh, he needs it.
Yeah, and he's only...
Like, he desperately needs it.
He's only just got enough wood now to drop down that market, so he'll be looking to trade out some of his 81,000 food. I like the English, the fact that you can have 21 villagers on food and still have 80,000 food. It's just something about that civilization and food that they seem to love. But now it looks like we're coming in for round 614. Beastie, as well as Recon, are back with more cavalry, and it looks like horsemen are going to be coming out for core. He's looking to mix things up. He tried camel archers the first 473 rounds, but not today.
Rongo, without taking a look at the actual numbers, give me your estimate of how many barracks does Beastie have and how many towers does he have?
I'm going to go with Beastie's got 112 barracks, and he's got 206 towers.
Well, you're overestimating him a tiny bit. He's at 137 towers and 76 barracks. So he's not there yet, but I mean, look at his base for a brief moment.
Yeah, I can see.
What is this even?
Look at the minimap. It's entirely green. Oh man, this is really tough. They're going to be running in. They double check the council hall. They see that it is still dead on the ground. And now at the same time, horsemen towards the front. Where is Beastie's army right now? Looks like it's around the back. He's just continuing to siege down all of the archery ranges. And more trading coming out. Dinky's going to be able to get himself back up to about 500 wood now, but this is so tough. I'm honestly impressed. This alliance has held for so long, and nobody has killed each other yet. These three guys are just working to take down the entire lobby, and they've done so successfully, and not a single one of them has blinked. And not even Core. Out of all the people, not even Core. Core's normally the guy who's going to break an alliance. You know, he signs an alliance, and before the paper's been handed over to his enemy, he's already made them his enemy.
Obviously, behind this one, everybody's preparing something. I'm not exactly sure what to think about this, but this might be some next level strategy. Another question when it comes to estimates: how many town centers do you think that Recon has?
Or one, I'm gonna guess.
15. Look at the south.
Wait,
what is Recon doing?
What? He's got one villager in each of them? What?
I think it has to be some like next level fortification. Like, he's also fortifying the far left, by the way. Like, he has set up 30 bombard towers. I think he's also waiting for something. Remember, he's been Silver 3 trade booming for a while, so like he might also be thinking about a wonder here. And suddenly you get the sense of urgency to drop that wonder first, because now Dinky's dying. He's losing his buildings. He can't rebuild it. If you snipe the market, he won't be able to get himself any more wood. In fact, if you snipe the market, Dinky can't survive this one.
Yeah, you're 100% right. If that market goes down, he's got nothing. He's got no wood in reserve. These are next level Mongol defense strategies, though. I've not seen this before. They talk about tower defense. They don't talk about town center defense, because that is impressive stuff. Look at that. And he's just continuing to expand it out as well. That's a great use of wood. I don't understand
what exactly it's useful for. If you take a look at the left side, the starting TC is like at the edge of the map, surrounded by these others. I think it's not just defending it with towers. I think it's a body blocking type of a move. Yeah. You don't let the cavalry get close by completely blocking them from even approaching.
Yeah, it's that whole concept that Age of Empires 2 has got, where you can wall with buildings. Here you can't wall with buildings, you can only wall with walls. But he tries as well his chance at doing it. Bombard's now going to be coming out, looking to focus down the Wingard Palace. Keep in mind that Council Hall is down on the backside. He continues focusing it down. 3 Bombards remain, 2 more going to be coming in on the backside. Wingard Palace definitely going to be going down today. The question is whether he's going to be able to take the King's Palace down with him. 2 more Bombards continue rolling in, and now everybody looks to turn down. Insufficient wood coming down. Could this finally be Dinky King going down? We'll switch over to Beastie's perspective as now he tries to hold on once again. Lance is running in from the south. This 3v1 may finally end as the King's Palace is holding on for dear life. The villagers continue to move forward, trying to hold on. We can see them repairing at the base. The Bombard's finally trying to take it out. It looks like it's going to be a good game here. Dinky King, you have fought valiantly, my friend, but tonight is your night, sweet prince. Good night.
And this is where hell is gonna be unleashed. The moment the mutual enemy is out, suddenly these guys will turn on each other. You could see that Recon even tried to snipe away that landmark from Beastie here. I think this is the moment where we're going to see, oh yeah, there is the Wonder on the left side. The moment the enemy is out, Beastie is going to pop the Monument of the Great Khan. No response from Recon just yet to this one. No response from Core. On the other hand, Core is assembling a force of Bombards back at home. Is this the time when he's turning on his neighbor?
I suspect it may be. Now, keep in mind that Wonder has been completed over towards, or is about to be completed over towards the west. Beastie is trying his best to finish this game off one of the best ways he knows how, and that is with a Wonder victory. Now, keep in mind there are 3 players alive now that this Wonder has been completed, so we take a snapshot of that and we say, okay, 3 players alive. That means he's not going to be getting that bonus, those bonus points for the victory here, if he manages to pull off the victory.
How many points is he getting bonus for getting the Wonder up when you have 4 players alive?
It's an extra 5 points. So by building the Wonder...
How many are you getting for killing a player?
3.
Then I don't understand it. I mean, he could have timed it a little bit. Like, he could have gotten 2 extra points here by placing it when Dinky was dying. I guess he went for the safe approach because he got the 3 points for killing Dinky here, sure thing. But he would have gotten more points by placing the Wonder. Like, the ideal circumstances would have been if he places the Wonder before Dinky dies and then snipes him. Timing that well would have been very difficult, but that would have been the most ideal thing for him.
Yeah, I got to agree with you, but I don't know, we can maybe pick his brain a little bit later about that, try and understand a bit more, but he's got plenty of Bombards out, this army, and Beastie is going to be looking to try and defend as well as he can. But I guess the question...
Core is going for Beastie's trade.
He's going for the trade. He's going to look to finish that out. Yeah, smart move there. But there's something that tells me, I don't know about you, but I just feel like at this point in the game, after letting your ally trade for close to what might be about 60 minutes here, that maybe going for the trade is actually not a smart move, because these traders are actually using up population slots, and now they're just going to get deleted. And, I mean, when you're at the gold cap, do you really care about your traders?
Yeah, I agree with you. And the thing is that you're not just at the gold cap. Look at the fortifications that Beastie has. Millions of towers, millions of barracks. How do you get through this? And this is something that Beastie's opponents have to learn. Beast loves to do this. Like, you know, he's not the guy that sits back and just pretends that he's not doing anything. Because if you're not doing anything, you're suspicious. People will think you will betray them. People will think you're going for a wonder. But Beastie is able to conceal this so well. Like, for a long time, and you see he deletes all his traders right now because he needs population space. For a long time, he was trying to be effective. He was sending in cavalry, telling his neighbors, oh yeah guys, I'm helping, look, I'm contributing to the war effort. But behind this one, he was just placing impenetrable fortifications, and now he's got a resource bank to outlast his opponents for long. I have absolutely no idea on this planet how such a level of defenses can be broken in just 10 minutes of time, or 15 minutes of time, rather.
One of the interesting things as well is that this isn't his only line of defense. In fact, if we take a look at Beastie's perspective, he's got outposts running along every single arm on this map. Now, there are some Baochuans that are moving down towards the south of his base, but take a look towards the north. There's no way that he gets penetrated on this northern flank at all. He's got outposts securing up the entire way, so he's going to have significant prior knowledge in the event that anything happens. But now it looks like we might have our first potential attack as a number of horsemen begin making their way towards the front. Spearmen going to be trying their best to clean it up.
Sad, guy. Like, this is going to be really sad.
So this is the problem, or not the problem, but this is the consequence of running through these cannon emplacement outposts, is that they do so well against this. The only real thing that you can do against this is maybe some sort of snipe on the Wonder with bombards. That could work if you're going to be able to get a drop down here on the south, but Beastie's going to be looking to clean this up as well. We can see he's got plenty of bombards out himself, trying to hold on this south side of the map, and now cleans up all 4 of those Baochuans.
Yeah, and this is the problem over here. You're not looking at the Chinese Baochuan. You're looking at the Mongol Baochuan, which actually has a shorter range than a fully upgraded Chinese Baochuan. So even if you don't have the bombards over here for Beastie, he does have the bombard towers. The bombard towers have 10 tiles range. The Baochuan do have 9 only. So you outrange those combat ships out there, even when Chaser Cannons is in. And with that, your towers are sufficient to defend against this, but even if they aren't, I mean, Beastie's got a couple of bombards out there, as you can see, 25 to be precise, and he could also go for Springolds. They do have extra range as well. I'm not gonna lie, we have reached that stage where Beastie's base is essentially impenetrable, and this is something that the players have to learn, really. Like, you can't let Beastie quietly build up his base, because he always does this. Every single FFA he plays, if he has the opportunity, he's gonna do this. Feel like he's contributing to the war effort, so he's not completely missing from the battlefield, but behind this, build up a Juggernaut eco, build up millions of fortifications, and then from that point on, you simply can't push him.
Yeah, it's a super smart play. And we can see that there's a little bit of a delay for these players to get out of the box right now. There's 10 minutes to go until this Wonder victory comes down. And only now it seems that Core's actually turning his attention towards the main base of Beastie. Sure, he shut down the trade, but as I mentioned earlier, trade, if anything, it's going to be working for you because it's holding all those population spots. But now a push going to be coming forward here. Core going to be looking to take it on land. And now I just want to go back to that point that we made a little bit earlier, talking about the fact that Beastie's secured up his entire northern flank. This means that he's able to stabilize down towards the south, keep all of his bombards down here, keep all of the outposts focused down towards his position, all of his attention down here. He doesn't even need to think about that north flank. He knows there's a possibility that drops will happen on the south side, but he is prepared for that. In the event that something comes from the north, he's not going to be prepared. But the reason why he's not prepared is because he's got the vision. He already knows that nothing's going to be coming from the north because he's got so much damn line of sight up there.
And the thing is that Beastie has been preparing for this moment for the last 40 minutes. I'm not joking. Like, he's been prepping this for a long time. If you take a look, everything is set up well for him. On the northern peninsula, there is a sneaky step redoubt hiding right next to that Stonewall Rumble. And meanwhile, on the right side, Deerstone's hiding in the former base of Puppy Paw / Snoopa. So he spread out his landmarks, fortified his peninsula. He has been prepping for this for a long, long time. Now, Recon is planning a big naval push here with a bunch of Baoshuans, but I don't think that he's even aware of the fact that he's gonna be greeted with what's gonna be like 30 bombards and a million of bombard towers. I don't feel like this is something that you can penetrate. I don't want to sound, disappointing over here or feel like there is no hope, but I just don't know how you can break through such a defenses.
Well, if he's doing anything, it is definitely if he's doing anything right, it is definitely these bombards, because these bombards, he's got 8 of them out at the moment. The big thing here is about bringing villagers forward, because he's going to need to replace these units. He's going to be careful not to lose these bombards because they may get sniped out. But you can see the way that he's moving forward, sieging down the barracks here with the units and then targeting down the outpost with the bombards. That's the exact play he's needs to be making. But now down towards the south side, a huge naval battle looking to unfold. The Baoshuan's moving in, looking to try and take down these outposts. The bombards also defending, and Beastie Cutie spending those resources like a madman right now. He's got 12 economic units out, but those Baoshuan's just not even standing a chance against these outposts. There's so many of them with these emplacements. He's going to have to fall back. He might even need to get some fishing boats out to repair these guys on the front line.
Yeah, like for a moment, I'm not gonna lie, I started to become a believer because that push was actually much more impressive than I initially thought it would be. And Core is making noticeable progress in the middle as well. So he has cleaned up the first layer of towers. There's at least like 4 more layers to go. But I mean, at least the 2 allies on the south are making progress. But the Wonder Timer is down to 7 minutes. Like, obviously, they will be making progress over here. They will be destroying parts of Beast's base. The question is, can you reach that Wonder in time? And, like, if the countdown goes down to, like, 3-4 minutes, will we see Core potentially turning his sight towards Recon here? Because, keep in mind that you might be thinking about yourself getting that second position. Recon is prepped for that. Look at him hiding his white stupa close to that silver tree. He actually chopped a little place here for himself in that forest to hide the white stupa in there.
Very, very safe. And look, oh my god, look at the forces. You're 100% right. He's got a whole military down here just defending. He's resigned himself to the fact that he's not going to be able to take down Beastie. This is it. This is difficult stuff right now to stomach for me watching this, because you've got a player who is almost certainly going to win, because it's 1 versus 1, and you're going up against a guy with more than 200,000 resources in the bank. And meanwhile, down here, your previous ally, Recon, I mean, he's just having a good time just making sure he doesn't die. He wants to make it to the end.
If he had the opportunity to landmark snipe Core, I think he will try it, but he just simply can't do this. But yeah, like, at this point, he's still trying with the Baoshuans. It's that type of thing where you're still trying to maybe salvage something out. Maybe you can find a weakness in Beast's defense, but you don't want to potentially risk yourself getting sniped, because right now this feels like a desperate effort from Core and Recon to take down Beastie, and Recon is aware of this. Recon wants to make sure, okay, if we are both going down, well, if we are going down with Core, we're both going down, and not just me getting knocked to the 3rd place. And I can 100% confirm that this is the mindset that players have. Like, obviously, I'm just a pleb in these games, but I actually played a game, as I said, with some of the pro players, including Beastie, and it was the exact same scenario. Beastie had like million layers of walls and castles of the French, and once the Wonder countdown got to like 5 minutes and we had like 4 players still alive, I started thinking about just killing my neighbor or just making sure I'm not getting killed, because I was like, there's no way we penetrate these defenses. But if I lose, then I want to make sure I don't lose to getting betrayed by a neighbor. I just want to lose to the guy that has the Wonder and we can't kill it.
Yeah, it makes sense from that perspective. It'll be something that we take away from this, because remember, we do look to update the rules each week when different things come up. So that'll be something that we factor in, something in that we consider. And remember, we do want to promote aggression. We don't necessarily want to promote big alliances, but at the same time, it's something that's natural, that's going to form throughout these games, whether we like it or not. And so it's better to just make it legal, make it lawful, and then try and regulate it. But we'll have to figure out something different, because it definitely looks like Beastie's going to be able to clinch away this one. And I'm just impressed right now.
Are you sure?
Take a look at Beastie's forces.
Yeah, you're sure, and I'm sure about that as well. Like, the problem here is not even the fact that you're not making progress. It's the fact that you are running out of resources. Like, Core didn't have as big of a resource bank as Beastie, and as we discussed, Recon isn't even committing everything that he has, because he's realizing that, if he sends in everything, he could be betrayed by Core here. So they will just run out of resources, and Beastie, he can just replenish his forces forever.
Yeah, he's got...
It could be a landing, though, actually. it might be one last desperate landing, and there is a glimpse of hope. The Monument of the Great Khan is only 5,000 HP, and if you take a look at the surroundings of the monument, you don't have that many towers nearby, like in quotation marks, right? Like as
Yeah,
compared to
not
how the
that
front
many.
line looks like.
There's only
Right?
like 40 towers nearby. Yeah, it's
I
easy.
mean, you're looking at right next to the Wonder. Like if you approach from the left side, you will probably fire upon at the same time by like 10 towers at maximum. I mean, it's a lot, but it's only a 5,000 HP landmark, and you will have a ton of cavalry here, and Mongols have a unique tech, additional torches, which actually gives more building attack bonus for their cavalry, or generally their torches. So there is actually a very small glimpse of hope here. If you can land, and if you can make sure you don't lose any of those transport ships, you might be able to find an angle from which you can maybe snipe the Wonder. I think chances are like less than 5%, but it's not over just yet. I think you have to send in a Baosham first, sacrifice them, land, run straight for the Wonder, and approach from that left-hand side angle, like around where that siege workshop and those barracks are, because that might be the angle where it's going to take a little bit more time for Beast to kill you.
I think you might be right. This could actually be it. From the corner, there's definitely an opportunity here for them to actually go in and take this out. We hear the sacred site being neutralized in the middle. That is just reinforcements coming through. But it looks like Core has tried his best to hold on. Now we can hear that BC's actually rolling back all of his units. The first transport ship's going to actually get taken out immediately. Beastie knows what is up, and now those Baochuan going to be coming in. Look at all of the bombards here ready to defend and hold on to this position. Beastie knows exactly what is up, and the consequence of not pushing in at the exact same time means that, unfortunately, it's just not going to be able to come through, and you can see now these transport ships just have to hang out. There's a little bit of a potential. Could he land over here? I'm not sure if you can see this, but just down to the south of these towers, there's a little bit of a landing spot.
He will try. He's gonna try. He's gonna jump on the bombards. Oh man, this is gonna be so difficult. Some of the transports are going down before dropping out the units.
Oh, Beastie wasn't paying attention, but it looks like now they're going to be able to drop out. There's a whole bunch of Lancers that have made it, but these guys have just decided instead of going in for those Wonders, he's just going to try and land and take out the bombards. But keep in mind, Beastie's got so many resources in the bank right now. He's got 64 spears in queue. Everything is just flooding into this front line at the same time. Over towards the north face, we've got another snipe that's coming through. Elite Lancers looking to come in on the side, completely cleaned up. But now we just see a lack of coordination between these two guys. The consequence of not using voice comms, the consequence of using the game, and now Core looks to run the gauntlet from Beastie. He tries his best to hold on now. Keep in mind when it comes to the Wonder Timer, we've got a minute to go. If he can make it in time, he might be able to hold, but there are so many spears here. And keep in mind, all these buildings are next to each other. He's going to funnel these guys in one by one and going to be able to clean them up. They're trying their best to make it through, but now the numbers here looking so healthy for Beastie. He's got 11 economic units in total, and you can see that Core is just struggling to find his way through. 1 minute until Wonder victory, and it looks like Beastie is going to be able to hold on. Core snipes away one of those stables and finds himself a little bit of space, a bit of a breakthrough coming through as he heads towards the Wonder. He's finally spotted it. He's got the torches out, continuing to make it through, but the bombards are coming up the rear, down towards the south. More bombards coming in, and it looks like Beastie is going to hold, and today, your victor will be Beastie.
Oh man, so much of a good reaction from Beastie. One of the things that we didn't have the chance to talk about here because so many things were happening at the same time is that the moment Core came in with the cavalry, Beastie mass deleted 20 bombards and instantly replaced them with spearmen. This is how much he was aware of the fact that those lancers could cause a problem. Mass deletes the bombards, takes the loss of resources, but replaces his army with spearmen to stop that cavalry push. And as he said, the lack of coordination haunted Recon and Core over here, because if these things happened at the same time, it would have been a completely different story. But as you said, Beastie Cutie is going to take the game over here. Too many defenses to break through for Core and Recon, and such a great level of Wonder defense from him.
Absolutely beautiful stuff there from Beastie. Congratulations go over to him. He did a really good job there to get that. So congratulations. And, I mean, impressive stuff there. It was a huge alliance that happened that game. But obviously everything was above board. Dinky King tried his best to hold on. He was in a 3v1 for how damn long was that? He must have been fighting 3v1 for about 40 minutes there.
Yeah, like, I feel for the guy, because I really felt that one of the players had to betray the other in that triple alliance. They actually played it out to the end, which means that, you know, the other two players, Recon and Core, they are still in the top three. But it's a bit of a bittersweet moment for them because, when you're teaming up with others, you're still eyeing towards that victory for yourself. In Dinky King's perspective, he knew exactly that it would take a miracle for him to win. But in the perspective of Recon and Core, they were prepping themselves for them to win. They were prepping themselves to betray the others, yet they were the ones getting betrayed by Beast. And if you take a look at the total resource count graph, it tells you the story. It tells you what you need to avoid when you are teaming up with other players. You can't let one player just bank up resources and wait for the opportunity or wait for the right moment to use them up. And I think, yeah, sure thing, many people might be saying, oh yeah, it was a little frustrating to see all three players teaming up and then one of them just winning the game. But keep in mind, this puts a massive crosshair at the back of Beastie QT in particular next week, because everybody has seen this game now in the tournament, and everybody knows that you team up with Beastie, you gotta expect something like this. Beastie played this one really well, but next week, his teammates or anyone he tries to cooperate with will be aware of such a thing to happen.
And I think that's exactly it. That's really well said, because credit where credit is due. The fact that he is able to convince people to ally with him, despite at the same time being able to bank up these resources, hide his score, and tell people, I'm not the threat. Wham is trading. It's that whole concept. Wham is trading. He is deflecting, and that itself is a skill. We talked about this yesterday. The fact that you don't have to be the king with the keyboard. You can be the king with the mouse and still have that same result. And here today, obviously, Beastie did a great job with his mouse, but did a great job with his keyboard and typed his way to victory. So very well played to everybody today. It was unfortunate. We did see some people go out very early, and a great attempt over on that island. Lidicor, thank you very much for the cast today. Fellas, if you're watching this on YouTube and you've made it all the way to the end, make sure you head over to Lidicor's YouTube channel. I'll leave a link in the description to where you can catch him. It's been an absolute pleasure, Lidicor.